Hi, I'm Tex Van Spyberg, and I had to rewrite the script for this video twice because Windows decided to have its own revolution. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about revolutions. The French Revolution, to be specific. You know, the one that everyone and their mother knows, the one with the guillotine and Marie Antoinette letting people eat cake. I mean, see, even Queen knows about it.
Let them eat cake, she says, just like Marie Antoinette.
Anyways, now this video has been demonetized because we played exactly 3 seconds of a clip under the Fair Use Act of 2007, but YouTube doesn't really care about that. Thanks, YouTube. Anyways, overbearing political regimes aside, let's talk about overbearing political regimes. So, it all starts with the fact that France has gotten themselves waist deep in debt. And, now that the British are starting to take over America, they've been shut off from their American colonies, which are their main source of revenue. So, what would be the best action, of course, to take in this scenario? That's right. Support the American Revolution in favor of the rebels, which will cause you to have more debt, and then just tax the peasants who don't have any money. Brilliant move, France. Very cool. You know, honestly, it's rather fitting that they sponsored the American Revolution because it's basically just the same thing that'll happen to them in the next 10 years or so. You see, this issue was compounded on by the fact that the Enlightenment were spreading their ideas of tearing down absolute monarchy and that the Catholic religion shouldn't have so much power over the people. Yeah, you're starting to see why this is a bit of an issue for the Catholic monarchs who are running France and taxing the peasants into oblivion. It's gonna come back into play, trust me. You see, because the harvests were so awful, what ended up happening is bread went up to 15 sous per loaf. The average worker made 15 sous a day. Now, I mean, a loaf of bread is kind of big. You know, you probably couldn't eat it all in one sitting. But a loaf of bread is 1,300 calories. A person needs about 2,000 calories a day to live, so already we're at a pretty low standard. But they're also working, so they're burning more calories on top of that. So what does this mean? That's right, people are hungry. Very hungry. And what do people do when they're hungry? They riot. And they riot big time. We're about to see that in the bread riots. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. People are rioting over bread. So they go to bakeries, and these bakeries have bread in them. And the bread's very expensive, as I already said. So what they do is they protest. You know, it's pretty peaceful until it's not. And then they break into the stores and they take all the bread. And now King Louis XVI has to get involved. And he has to deploy forces to stop people from stealing bread because they're starving to death. Yeah, there's no issues spiraling out of control here. This is all under control. The monarchy has got this. Until they don't. So now that the peasants are loaded to the neck with weaponry, they decide to actively take to the streets and fight against the army. Now, King Louis XVI is a smart man. He sees angry people, he sees they have weapons, he decides to humor them for a bit. And so he creates the Third Estate of the French Parliament, which is basically a group for the common people to voice their concerns. However, the Third Estate doesn't really see it this way. See, they don't call themselves the Third Estate. They call themselves the National Assembly. So very clearly, they don't really care about the other two estates, or even view them as legitimate estates. In their minds, they are the only legitimate estate. Hi, this is Tex from the future. I've just been informed that the Third Estate and Second Estate and the First Estate weren't actually parts of Parliament. They're part of the Estates General. So just disregard what I said about Parliament and replace it with Estates General, and we will be A-OK. So with this change in name, the National Assembly decides to take the tennis court oath, which is basically them saying they're not going to disband, and they're going to reassemble wherever they have to until they get a constitution. And now, to compound this and make it even worse for the king, they decide to publish the August Decrees, which are decrees that were published in August. Basically, these decrees say that you have all the hunting rights over your own private grounds, and the royal hunting grounds are completely gone. They are no longer royal hunting grounds, and there's no crime for hunting on them. Furthermore, if you are arrested for hunting on the royal hunting grounds, you're just freed from jail for that. So that's pretty nice. This also limits the tax rate, so basically, everyone pays the same flat tax, no matter what their income is. And the amount of that tax that can go to churches, such as the Catholic Church, which had a very large say in the government, is severely limited. And this was all done to abolish feudalism, which was the current type of land management at the time. So now that Maximilian Robespierre is leading this revolution pretty successfully, they're making some real groundwork, getting new policies in place, abolishing slavery, all of that good stuff. Until the king, Louis XVI, decides to conspire with Brunswick and tells Brunswick essentially to, hey, maybe you should tell these peasants not to kill me. And if they do kill me, then we're going to go to war with them. Hey, you like that idea? Is that a good idea? The only issue, the peasants found these letters. They didn't like them a little bit. And that's right around the time when the guillotine was invented. What an absolute coincidence that they needed to execute the king, and they made a guillotine. This is where the revolution goes into full swing, kill anyone we disagree with mode. And that's where the Reign of Terror is. So, now that the guillotine is here, it's a staple execution method. King Louis XVI, his head gets lopped off. Queen Marie Antoinette, his head gets lopped off. Maximilian Robespierre gets his head lopped off. Oh wait, you thought I mispronounced that. No. Maximilian got his head lopped off because as soon as he had some slight disagreements with everyone getting their head lopped off, he got his head lopped off. Because the Committee of Public Safety, they really liked the guillotine. Like, if they could marry it, they would marry the guillotine. Because anyone who had even the slightest dissenting opinion, they got their head lopped off. What's ironic about this, most of the people who had dissenting opinions were in the National Assembly. About 85% of the 200 to 300,000 people who were executed by the guillotine were peasants in the National Assembly. Yeah, we're going full 1984 before 1984 here. Well, now that we've executed everyone who's disagreed with us, what do we do now? Said the National Assembly. Well, they really do nothing. They just wither away, in all honesty, and are replaced by the French Directory, which also does nothing, except declare war on everyone and everything. The British, the Austria, Hungary, if it moves, it has war declared on it. They also overinflated the economy and broke the economy, and so now everyone's poor again. Wonderful. So, the French Directory does nothing except act as something for Napoleon to take over. And Napoleon does take over the French Directory and establishes a constitutional monarchy, which means we went from one person in charge of everything to one person in charge of everything. And that's really the French Revolution. That's how it ends. Napoleon takes over, he makes everything right again, decides to conquer everything. And so, overall, we went from that one person in charge of everything, who everyone hated, through turmoil, and hatred, and executions, and more executions, lots of executions really, to one person in charge of everything that everyone loved. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, leave a like, just leave a thing if you want, I don't know. Leave your conspiracy theories in the comments. I don't care, it makes my channel grow, so do that. Subscribe to me on Patreon. Even though you don't subscribe on Patreon, you just give me money. I want your money. Subscribe to me on my non-existent Twitch channel that's not here. Yay. Alright, and I will see you in the next video.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.